Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hidden Archives. In this episode, I will be discussing the Native American tribes of Texas and California and how the mission system destroyed many of these tribes. In the early 1500s, the region from Texas to California was populated by a vast collection of tribes, each with their own unique cultures and ways of life. Cabeza de Vaca, one of the first Spaniards to interact with Texas tribes, said of them, "They are a people wonderfully well built, very lean and of great strength and agility." Cabeza de Vaca is believed to have first encountered tribes belonging to the Karankawa, who once ranged all along the coast of Texas from Galveston Island down to the mouth of the Rio Grande. This tribe mostly lived as hunter-gatherers and wore little to no clothing in warm weather, smearing their bodies with alligator grease to ward off mosquitoes. The California coastal regions held tribes with similar ways of life, such as the Esalen of the Central Coast, who were captured in sketches by José Cordero in 1791 while he was visiting the area of what is now Monterey, California. Further inland, other ways of life prevailed. In East Texas, the Caddo lived in farming villages, growing corn, beans, and squash, and lived in homes that resembled beehives. They were also known for building burial mounds, and may have been an offshoot of the larger mound builder civilization that lived further north along the Mississippi River. Some of their mounds can still be found just west of Alto, Texas, along Highway 21. In the desert regions in what is now New Mexico, Arizona, and parts of Colorado and Utah, tribes such as the Navajo and Puebloans lived. They also practiced agriculture assisted by irrigation, and the Puebloans built cities carved into cliff sides, some of which can still be seen in places like Mesa Verde in Colorado. When the Spanish arrived on the scene, they began to force many of these Native American tribes to relocate to new towns they were building, often situated around a central mission. Gilberto M. Hinojosa wrote, referencing Herbert E. Bolton, "Funded and protected by the government, missionaries advanced in directions where their goals meshed with imperial objectives." In other words, the missionaries often acted as tools of Spanish imperial expansion. Natives in the areas where the new missions were set up were often forced to work for the Spanish to convert to Catholicism, often without truly understanding what they were being asked to do. In areas where the tribes were not already practicing agriculture, such as among the Karankawas of the Gulf Coast of Texas, the Spanish encountered more resistance to their missions, as noted by Robert H. Jackson. The crowded conditions also led to the rampant spread of disease, which rapidly decimated the numbers of these tribes. As Robert H. Jackson noted in another paper, the rates at which these tribes were decimated varied depending on how crowded the conditions were at the mission and how many Europeans lived in close proximity to the natives, with the mission at San Luis Obispo suffering far less than the mission at Santa Cruz. Almost 64,000 are estimated to have died in the California missions, while numbers of those who died in the Texas missions aren't known. Ultimately, while there were no doubt many of the friars in these missions who truly wanted nothing more than to convert the natives, there were also those who wanted to exploit their labor, and were also willing to use force to obtain conversions that were all too often feigned, as they were coerced. This concludes my presentation. Thank you. Have a nice day.